Hey guys, welcome back to the fifth episode of Don and Shak. My name's Shak, and this is Don.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about, the morality and ethics of keeping pets. All right, so
And talking about if it really matters.
yeah, and whether they care or not.
Yeah.
Anyone cares. So, what's the basic history of pets? Because I know pets have been around for a long time, right?
Yeah, so before we kind of decided to talk about this topic and kind of have our ideas, I went to Wikipedia. I don't know if it's the most reliable source, but there's evidence, there's prehistoric archaeological, no, not prehistoric, but there's archaeological evidence that pets existed 10,000 years ago. And maybe
A long
around
time.
yeah, and maybe another key fact is I think during the Victorian era and then the 17th, 18th, 19th century, pets were kind of a commodity and they were a status symbol to symbolize that you were in the high class or that you're rich. But then today, in the modern day, we kind of see pets as do you kind of still see them as a commodity, sort of?
Not even. I feel like nowadays it's just something everyone has. It's like a phone or a laptop where it's anyone can get access to them.
Yeah, I think phone is a good comparison because I guess a phone isn't really a status symbol, but it's kind of a commodity where I guess it's kind of part of your life, and maybe a pet could be part of your life. It's in the modern day, a pet's not really a status symbol. I don't know, unless you have
probably changed over time.
Unless you have like a horse in your backyard, I don't know.
Right? Yeah, like
in a
pony.
castle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right now pets are seen as a part of the family, right? They're just a part of. So do you have any pets?
No, I don't.
Your family?
Sadly, no. I'm actually allergic to dog and cat first, so yeah, and no pets in the apartment. So I think
that's fair. I don't have any pets right. Actually, I used to have a rabbit. We used to have a rabbit, our family, but then it died. And then I did some research onto it. And apparently, rabbits are so sensitive to everything. They get sick really easily, and since they're so sensitive, they just die if they get
just
sick.
like you, right?
I haven't gotten sick, and shut the fuck.
Like, well, you're not dead yet, man.
Yeah, so I'm not sensitive to disease. Anyways, now our family has 4 ducks. Right, I came home from work one day. I went to the living room, and there was 4 baby ducks.
Right.
In the living room. I was like, what the hell? But now they're all like grown up. They get massive so quick. They roam around in our free backyard, and they have a little hut that they go in during the night, so they're safe from cats or whatnot. Right. But I will say that I have, for the whole history of the ducks, I have never fed the ducks or taken care of the ducks.
You're a monster, man. Like, you gotta take care of your pets, right?
You gotta take care of your pets. That's what I'm saying. Brings me to the next point. If you're not invested in the pets you have, it's really unhealthy for the pet, right? Yeah. And just in general, if you're not invested in the pets, you won't take care of it. You'll neglect it. Yeah. Which is a big thing too. A lot of pets and a lot of animals are neglected. Where the owners just don't care. Maybe they thought they would really enjoy having a pet. After like a month, they're like, too much work, and they're just left neglected. You see a lot of stories where dogs die in a car because the owners locked them in the car on a really hot day.
Yeah.
Right, and like malnourished animals.
Yeah, so. even animals where like you want to try to get them fixed up, but it's not worth it. So
right,
a lot of euthanization happens in the vet and stuff. So yeah.
Do you think euthanization of pets and animals is ethical?
I don't really think killing something is. We can't really say killing something is ethical.
Right, especially since they can't actually decide themselves.
Yeah, but I guess it's kind of there's no really right answer because if they're in pain and suffering,
exactly.
Well, you kind of want to let them go of the pain. So
no, that's very true with the ethics of that.
Yeah.
Even if they can't decide themselves, if they want to continue living or be euthanized,
right?
You'd only euthanize them if they had no chance of survival, if they were going through a lot of pain and there's nothing you can do for them, right? Vets exist, they fix them up if they can, but if not, then I feel like euthanization is not a bad thing because they don't have a chance of surviving otherwise. Might as well let them go of the pain early.
Yeah, but I think euthanization is I think it's less ethical than, what do you call it when you're like, you take medication and it's like consent to dying. I forgot what was
Euthanization, right?
yeah, I thought that was a specific word for a human
Animals
euthanization. Yeah, but
No,
anyways,
it's just general term.
yeah, the key contrast is, for humans, they have a choice in euthanization. They can get euthanized themselves, but then pets don't really have a say. So I think that's the main contrast between them.
It makes it a gray area in that instance.
Yeah.
Right. So if the owner can't look after the pets well, they neglect them. It's bad, right? There's no way around it. It's bad. But what about the owners that care for the pets? They're invested, that care well for their animals. I feel like that's when the mutually beneficial relationship starts.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, in mutual beneficial relationships, I think it's both good for the pet and the human. So I've actually done some research on this topic before. I kind of got my ideas together. So all the research is from a Time article that is in the description below. So check it out if you're interested in this topic and want to research more yourselves. So this article actually lists 5 different scientific articles, actual scientific articles with all the formatting, all the stats there. I haven't had a deep look, but do it for yourself. I summarized it all here, so I kind of want to read it out and maybe discuss these along through this podcast. So, first case for rabbits, there was a study where there was people with a bit of anxiety, but inanimate toys or dolls, something like that, they didn't have an effect in reducing anxiety, but living animals, it didn't matter if they were hard-shelled or furry, did have an effect.
Yeah, furry.
Yeah.
Not the other type of furry.
Yeah. Just warning you guys. Yeah. Anyways, forget about that. So another article, it didn't matter if the animal was actually cute and cuddly, even simple and weird animals like crickets, they help people become less depressed. So
You should get some crickets, man. I need some crickets.
for fish, when participants at an Alzheimer's disease facility dined where aquariums with brightly colored fish were present, they actually ate more and had better nutrition, and they were less susceptible to bad pacing. So it's pretty weird. Yeah.
Okay. So it calms them down, huh?
Yeah, pretty cool. And obviously for dogs, people, children with reading difficulties, if they read aloud to a trained dog, they actually showed less symptoms of anxiety. And the last one, guinea pigs. Studies showed that when guinea pigs were present in the classroom, children with autism were more social, smiled more, and laughed more, and showed less signs of stress. So it's all these small things that kind of actually show up when
just like the general benefits of pets.
Yeah.
So they definitely do have a place in our lives. But notice how all those benefits, they were all centered around the humans, right? They're talking about all the benefits that pets give to us, right? How about the other way around? Like, is it actually beneficial for the animals themselves to be?
Well, I guess the main physiological benefits of pets is they get access to free food, free shelter, so they're nice and healthy, pretty fed up every day, and well protected. So I think that's the main benefits for pets. But if you really think about it, if you don't work for your food, your shelter, kind of all your rewards that all the rewards, and then all the things that you need, is there really meaning in?
Right. Yeah, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
If they're not working for anything, if like they have no goals in life to survive, is it really meaningful? That's like, remember the Experience Machine episode?
Yeah.
It's like they're pretty much
first episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're pretty much almost living in the Experience Machine where they're if they're under good conditions, they're just living in a life of pleasure without having to worry about getting food or shelter or anything or safety, right? So would they really be happy? But at the same time, do they even care? Right?
Yeah, right.
Because we're looking at this in a human perspective.
Yeah.
Where we wouldn't have a meaning to life there, but would domesticated pets, maybe that is their new meaning of life.
Yeah.
Where like that is what they are conditioned to do. Maybe they won't.
Yeah, especially for domesticated pets, they basically let's say dogs, for example, they've been bred and domesticated for a very long time, so they're kind of ingrained into the lifestyle of living as a pet. So would they really think about living in the wild, something like that? I don't really have an answer to that, but that's some questions that I want to raise in this discussion.
Right.
Yeah. And also for humans, the reason we kind of think about meaning in kind of living and gathering food, getting sheltered, all that stuff is that humans, we think about the future, so we have the brain capacity to actually think about the future.
Right.
So stress, even anxiety, something like that. We're always worried about the future. But pets and most other animals, they don't really have that capacity to
I think it's more
know
in
what the future is.
in this situation.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They don't really
Because-
have the concept, so they wouldn't really care about, if there's really meaning in that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's very true. Very true. Right. So that's only for domesticated pets. They are used to that lifestyle by now. Thousands of years of evolution in that lifestyle. Right. What about wild animals? The animals you see in zoos. Right. Their whole life has been torn apart after they got captured, and then they don't have to work for anything. But there are some zoos that do give them like the wildlife experience where they let an animal loose and they make it hunted, right?
Right.
Yeah, I guess it would
But
be
still confined. I reckon.
it is very confined. It's like the experience machine. It's not real,
Right.
But do you think they still would care? Because do they have even though they're wild animals who are not used to enclosures and captivity, would they really care?
I think it all obviously all depends on which type of animal you're talking about, but I think I've seen a video on the internet where I think animals like dolphins, right? You know how dolphins, they live in the oceans, they kind of roam around and stuff. They're pretty intelligent as well. But I think I saw one in the zoo where he or she was kind of banging on the glass inside the the encaged area, and kind of feel bad for it because I think they know that they're in a confined space and they can't really move around. That's the only place they have, and they can't really enjoy the freedoms of being in the wild. Yeah, so I think to some extent they do care, and they know they're kind of in a confined space.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about, do you have any ideas on what wild animals would be like in a zoo or even domesticated at home, something like that?
I think a lot of the factors that we talked about for domestic animals apply for wild animals in the zoos,
Yeah.
because they're just, at the end of the day, they're still just animals with nowhere near the mental capacity of us. So maybe they won't really care as long as they're getting food, are safe. I guess they would be a certain level of happiness.
Right.
But I think it is less fine than a domesticated pet animal, right? Because with wild, they would be slightly more discontent with domesticated than domesticated animals. But I think overall, as long as the zoo enclosure is all right and decent and it's not completely confined, I think overall it's more on the fine side.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of disagree with your stance because there has been some scientific evidence that animals such as dogs or even pigs or some cows, they actually feel empathy when
Really?
I don't know, something happens to them when they're like when their child gets taken away, or if they're like confined in a small area. So, and you know how you said that they're just animals, they don't have the brain capacity, but you really don't know how they experience the world, right? Because
That
you're
is
only
very
experiencing from your viewpoint. Like, you don't really know how I experience the world. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Yeah, so you can't really, I think, like, you can't really your argument there, even though it's an opinion, it's not really justified. You get what I mean?
No, that is true.
Yeah.
I feel when you said the child gets taken away, that the practice of capturing them, that's very bad, right?
Yeah.
Everyone would agree that that's not okay. But I'm saying, like, if they've been born into captivity, I feel like there's less of a chance of it being as impactful. It's still impactful. I'm just
Right.
I don't think it'll be I don't think it's as bad as
Right. But
it would be for humans.
right.
Is what
But
I'm saying.
I think my final stance on maybe the zoo part will be that we really don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
Yeah. Which is like most answers.
Do you think
on this podcast? Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think
Unfortunately,
there are any? Do you think it's okay for wild, like in animals in the zoo, enclosed,
in captivity.
yes. Anyways, my question to you is: do you really think that animals in zoos and in captivity, is it okay for them to be released in the wild after like half a lifetime in captivity.
Right. Well, in that case, if the animal is already living in captivity,
And was born and raised
yeah,
there.
yeah. If you they're already adapted to that environment within captivity. So if you just release them into the wild, you're not really giving them freedom, but you're kind of
There's a quote that you
yeah,
you got on
yeah,
here. I'll just read it out.
yeah,
Releasing a domesticated animal into the wild isn't quite freeing it. It's actually more like placing a defenseless animal in an unfamiliar and uninviting habitat that is, the animal is just not equipped to deal with the harsh realities of, being in the wild. Yes, so I feel like just capturing them from the wild is terrible, but releasing them back in the wild after they've been raised in captivity, you might not be doing it a favor. But if you release it with like another animal that is a motherly fatherly figure, as it was a baby from the zoo, you just release it then. They have the chance to learn in the wild. I feel like that's a bit more.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that quote actually, which is from another article called Scientific American, which is we'll put in the description below. I think it's really good for you guys to kind of learn more about yourself rather than just us two just rambling about stuff. I think if you
really want to go down the route of actual
read the articles,
evidence.
learn yourself, get educated. It's kind of a sad reality. If you just release them into the wild, it's kind of like even with people, right? So you know how we just live an urban lifestyle, just like sitting all day, pretty much.
That's very true.
Like video games, I don't know, something like that.
It would be very hardly equipped to survive in the wild for multiple years.
And if you put us into the Amazon, right, you're not really giving us freedom, but you may be even giving us more less of freedoms, because we don't really know how to adapt to that lifestyle now, unless we really try it.
But the thing is, we're still free here, so it's kind of different with animals where they will be free without enclosures. If we were in a prison and then we had the chance to be released in the Amazon, I think it'd take.
Yep. Actually, that's a very interesting thing I want to talk about. There's a movie called Shawshank Redemption, right? Yeah, you watched it?
Of course.
Yeah. So I think there was one of the scenes where this guy, I forgot everything about it, but everyone's leaving the prison, but he got he was released, and I think he hanged himself.
All right, so this is old man.
Yeah.
This old man who spent upwards of 40 years in the prison.
Right.
He's very old now, and he finally got released.
Yeah.
But he spent most of his life there, most of his life behind bars in prison under a system, right?
Right.
When he got released, he was happy for a bit. Not happy for a bit. He was sad as he was leaving. He was really confused.
Right, because he had all his he has all his mates there. And it's
his whole life.
Right.
His whole life is in the place. His whole life had been a system in the prison.
Right.
When he got released, a few days later, he hung himself in his hotel room because he just didn't know what to do.
Right, and I think that's a pretty similar analogy to
that is very
releasing an enclosed animal into the wild. So yeah.
After it's known no other life. Very true.
Yeah.
So Donald, what is your overall thoughts on having pets and the ethics of having pets?
I guess if you're just a normal dude, who has a dog or a cat at home, that's completely fine. I think that's pretty cool. But I think there's a lot of dark side behind the pet industry, and if you kind of link it towards zoos, there's a lot of bad side that happens behind the scenes that we haven't really talked about. Actually, we did talk about, but there's probably more going on.
That we can't get into right now.
Yeah. We'll drag this along too much because it's really complicated, and honestly, we don't really know really deep into that stuff.
Just naturally.
Just naturally.
Also, you were saying that the perspective of pets are very different to the perspective of humans.
Exactly. So, with ethics as well, the thing that kind of restricts this is that if we talk about the ethics, we're kind of talking about the ethics in terms of a human, right? But then we don't really know if how pets experience the world from their viewpoint. So it's pretty complicated. I don't really want to say complicated.
No, but it is a very complicated
yeah
subject. I guess it's a lot to do with your personal beliefs, opinions
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, but I believe that we should strive better to kind of take care of our fellow animals, kind of take care of them, kind of let them experience their natural life rather than being too confined, like such as if you have pets like birds or like lizards inside like a cage or like a small tank, something like that. I think that's a bit too extreme, so we should kind of work towards
Bettering that aspect.
bettering that aspect, pretty
So
much.
overall, I think the benefits to humans of just pets is quite large. There are so many benefits, right? As you said.
Yeah.
But the other way around, that's where it's a bit more grey. But I
yeah.
think for domesticated pets, my thoughts, I think that it's fine.
Right.
Except for the dark side behind the industry. I think other than that, I think it's fine for most.
Right. Well, how about the
pets.
birds and the stuff in the cages that I was talking about?
Yeah, for birds and cages, I think that some animals just weren't meant to be, domesticated and be had as pets.
Right.
With birds, like what do you get out of just looking at a bird in a cage, right?
Right.
Just watch a YouTube video of like a simulated bird, on the cage for however long. With birds, it's like they have nothing to do, especially if you don't ever let them go out of the cage, or if they do, they'll just go free. They're just not meant to be there.
Right.
With fish, I think it's very different because with fish, if it's a normal tank, I feel like they still have a lot of the freedom. They can still swim. Birds just can't fly in the cages. Fish can still swim. I feel like that's just normal as having a dog or a cat as a pet. And plus, fish, they're pretty stupid, right? They're pretty stupid. In compared to other animals, they're pretty stupid. I don't think they really care as long as they have other fish to play around with, and if they get fed, right? So that pretty much wraps up the 5th episode of the Don and Shak podcast. Thank you guys for watching.
I think thanks for watching. I think this was one of the most hardest and most deepest topics to talk about. I feel like if you took maybe a bit more time, I think we could have gone more deeper into this topic, but it's very complicated, a lot of science as well, and just a lot of grey areas and things that us don't really know about because we don't really know what's truly out there.
Right. We're just two guys expressing their uneducated thoughts. Pretty much.
Basically, but I think
Anyways,
it was pretty good talking.
It was pretty productive. Yeah. Anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. If you liked the video, chuck us a like and subscribe for another video next week and more to come. All right. Catch you guys later.
See ya.